All right, when we start court, there should be no talking.
Ms. Bridgewater, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Judge. How are you today?
I'm doing well. I hope you are as well. Can you let us know when the SAP reset date is, please?
It is the day after Christmas, December 26th.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Afternoon, Francois. I hope you're doing well.
This is William Heiss.
I'm sorry. Good afternoon, Judge Morrow.
Afternoon. Let's see, wherever you want to start. I do see that we have Ms. Chansey on.
I would like to start where it says Major Hinton. That's ACDC. I would like to start. That would be position number.
Judge, before she answers that, I have one correction. We're not going to have court on the 26th. It's going to be the 28th instead. So December 28th will be the next SAP's day.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Bridgewater.
You're welcome.
That's going to be position number 24.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And this is Erica Williams. Can I get someone, Major Hinton, can I get you to unmute for me?
This is Keith Cook with the PD's office. I'll be representing Ms. Williams.
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Cook.
And Your Honor, while we're waiting, we have a new ASU on the line. Her name is Ms. Raquel Pope. She will be presenting with us today, and this is her case. Just want to make the introduction.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Ms. Pope. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Judge Morrow. Thank you. And I'm sorry, it's sitting in the waiting room. Which case was this?
Okay, this will be position number 24, Erica Williams.
Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Williams. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Williams, you've been charged in case 23 CR 007854F with simple assault family violence. Let's see, who do we have on from pretrial today?
Hello, Judge.
Oh, yes, good afternoon, Ms. Jackson. Let's see, is there a history?
She does not have any prior arrests unfound. She does appear to meet the criteria for UJR through pretrial services in level 1, and there's a 91% chance that she may appear in court and an 87% chance that she may remain arrest-free. Nothing in addition.
Thank you. Yes, Ms. Pope.
This is an incident that took place on December 10th, 2023. Ms. Williams, as you know, is charged with simple assault. Officers were dispatched to 3432 Piedmont Road Northeast in reference to a domestic dispute. They met with both parties who stated that they were involved in a verbal dispute that turned physical. The victim, Monique Farrell, stated that the defendant threw a plastic cup at her and came into the bedroom closet where the defendant started knocking down all of the shoes and throwing clothes from the closet onto Ms. Farrell. The victim further stated that the defendant picked up a basket with clothes inside and dumped it on her while shoving the basket on the victim. The victim also stated that the defendant began knocking down all of her electronics, which is what precipitated the call to the police. There was no visible injury to Ms. Farrell. Just as noted, that may have already been noted, Ms. Farrell was also arrested. The defendant and the victim have been living in the same household with the victim's 3 children since June. As already noted, the defendant does not have any convictions. The recommendation for bond would be signature or UJR through pretrial level 1, no contact with Monique Farrell, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
And Your Honor, if I could point out, Ms. Farrell is a co-defendant, and I believe I'm handling Ms. Farrell's case. And so if we can handle them at the same time so that we don't have to do a recitation of the facts again.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre Thomas.
Good afternoon. My apologies.
No, no problem. You're fine. Is this Ms. Farrell that's in courtroom 2?
That is correct, Judge.
Okay, and let's see. What position is that? Do we know?
Position 7.
It's been really slow right now because I'm working on another.
Okay, thank you. And this is your case, Ms. McLeod?
It is, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you. I just want to make sure I've got everybody situated. Ms. Farrell, I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 007845F with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
She has 3 cycles. The last arrest was August the 26th, 2014, out of Richmond, Virginia, for assault and battery. Those charges were null pros on October the 20th, 2014. There are no convictions listed in the GCIC. She appeared to meet the criteria for a level 2, with an 84% chance of appearing for court and a 71% chance of remaining arrest-free. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Your Honor, as it relates to this case, the state's recommendation is a $2,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the co-defendant, a stay away from the location, and the completion of a family violence intervention program.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pierre Thomas. Yes, Mr. Cook.
Yes, Your Honor, my client, Erica Williams, is a 7-year veteran of the Fulton County Sheriff's Office. She's been in law enforcement for 16 years. This is primarily her home, and she brought Ms. Farrell into it, I guess, several months ago. So in terms of a stay away, I think it would be, I think they could stay away from each other, but I'm not sure exactly how this would be done. I think the most equitable way would be for Miss Williams to go back to the Piedmont Road address, since she has lived there the longest. And I would ask in this case, the 7-year veteran, 16 in law enforcement, that she get a bond through the jail, a signature only bond through the jail.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cook. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 35 years old. She has no significant history at all. She tells me that she lives at this address with her girlfriend and her 3 children, 3 minor children, the eldest of whom is 17, and the youngest, who is 7 years old. I'm sorry, the youngest is 12 years old. She has 3 children living there, Your Honor. She would prefer no further violent contact, and she tells me that that is also the wish of her girlfriend. That was my understanding, that they both wished to have contact going forward. So I would ask her to give my client a signature bond so she can get out of jail, and that it be conditioned on no further violent contact with the cross-defendant.
Okay, Mr. Cook, do you know whether or not that's something that will be agreeable to your client, no further violent contact? You're on mute, Mr. Cook.
Biggest problem. Yes, no violent contact would be acceptable.
Okay, as such, given the histories for each, it will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial, 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with one another, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. That level for pretrial will be level 1 for both.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Let's see, Ms. Williams, Ms. Farrell, good luck to you both.
I'm sorry, Judge, can you please repeat the bond?
$2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 for each of them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Position 15, Murray.
Yes, good afternoon. I think this is Julius Murray. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 007850Y with battery. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
He has 2 cycles. The last arrest was April the 25th, 2019 in Henry County for a DUI and possession of marijuana less than an ounce. He does have 1 misdemeanor conviction that was out of Henry County for a DUI and possession of marijuana less than an ounce. He does appear to meet the criteria for a UJR through pretrial services, a level 1, with an 84% chance of appearing for court and an 80% chance of remaining arrest-free. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Your Honor, brief facts of the case is essentially the victim in this case, Mr. Brian Parker, traditional spelling, was walking with a friend, looks like at the location of 10th Street Northeast and Piedmont Avenue Northeast in Atlanta, Georgia, when it appears that 2 friends of his ex-boyfriend accosted him and one through the punch, and the second friend through the second punch, ultimately landing. The first person that threw the punch was, it appears, was the defendant, Mr. Julius Murray. I think it's believed that the victim suffered some gashes to the head, some marks on his neck from a necklace being pulled from his neck, dislocated shoulder. I believe he had to go to the hospital. Our office was able to get in contact with him. He stated that the defendant is a friend of his ex-boyfriend, as stated previously. He confirmed the events that were located in the warrant. He said that his shoulder was dislocated and he sustained a deviated septum. He stated that his hospital bills were in the amount of $2,400. He stated that the day after the incident, the defendant and his friend was standing outside of his home. He stated that he left the state out of concern for his safety, and that he would like no contact with the defendant. I do believe that he is on Zoom, so if you could sound for him in accordance with Marcy's law, that'd be greatly appreciated. Recommendation from the state in this particular case, given the limited criminal history, is a signature bond through the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact, and the completion of 1 anger management course. And if we can sound for Mr. Parker in accordance with Marcy's law, that'd be greatly appreciated.
I see you on the line, Mr. Parker. If you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. If so, I'll need for you to raise your right hand for me. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court, sir?
Actually was $25,000, sir. I really don't have any interest with Mr. Murray. I don't live in the state anymore. However, if I do, I would like to make sure that I have no contact and he has no contact with me as well.
Okay, very good. Thank you for being here this afternoon.
No worries.
Is this your case, Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor.
You
My
can
client
proceed.
is 38 years old and he has no significant criminal history, certainly no history of violence. He denies the allegations in the warrant, Your Honor. He has no interest in having any contact with the alleged victim. So we don't have a problem with no further contact whatsoever. And I think my client qualifies for a signature bond, so I would ask the court to grant him a signature bond, and we're perfectly okay with no further contact with Brian Parker.
Okay, it'll be a $3,000 signature bond through pre-trial, level 1, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Brian Parker, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Good luck to you, Mr. Murray. You also, Mr. Parker.
Thank you.
Who do we have next?
Your Honor, can you repeat that? We actually rebooted
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we already.
Okay, it's a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial, level 1 day anger awareness, no further contact with Brian Parker, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your
Okay.
Honor.
You're welcome. Good luck, Mr. Murray.
Next is going to be position 13, Mr. Lucasen.
That's in my case, Your Honor. I believe that's a co-defendant case with position 4, Ms. Cameron Chappell. I'm not sure if she's at Rice Street or ACDC.
She's here.
Okay, we'll take her next if that's all right. Mr. Lucasen, good afternoon. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 007849Y with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
No.
He has 3 cycles. The last arrest was January the 29th, 2020 in Carroll County, Georgia, for armed robbery and home invasion in the 1st degree. Those charges were dismissed on January the 26th, 2021. He does have 1 misdemeanor conviction that was in 2021 out of Fayette County for possession of marijuana less than an ounce. He appeared to meet the criteria for UJR in level 1. There's an 84% chance that he may appear for court and an 80% chance that he may remain arrest-free. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Walker.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched at 50 Mount Zion Road, where they met with this defendant, who advised that Ms. Cameron Chaplak took his car keys and locked him out of the home. When she came back to that location, they had some type of disagreement that led to a physical altercation. Law enforcement, upon investigating the altercation, it was determined that it was mutual combat. In this case, we are asking for a signature bond through pretrial services, no contact with the co-defendant, Cameron Chappell, a 2-day anger awareness course, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And we're not asking for a stay away. I believe that Ms. Chappell is his roommate's ex-girlfriend. So we'll be asking for a stay away provision on her matter.
Cloud?
Yes, Your Honor. We have no objection to the signature bond, Your Honor, and to the other terms of the bond.
Okay, it will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 day anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Chappell, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Lucasen.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
Okay. Position 11, Hess.
Is it possible to do Ms. Chappell next?
Chapel.
Since
Yes, come on, have a seat, Ms. Chapel. This is Ms. Chapel.
okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Chappell. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is a State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 007847H with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
She has 1 prior cycle. The last arrest was May the 4th, 2019 in Warwick, Georgia, for possession of marijuana less than an ounce. She did receive a pretrial diversion program in 2020 for possession of marijuana less than an ounce, and that was out of Warwick, Georgia. She does appear to meet the criteria for UJR level 1 with an 84% chance of appearing for court and an 80% chance of remaining arrest-free. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Okay, anything?
I won't go over the facts again, but the state is asking for the same recommendation, signature bond through pretrial services with the same conditions, with the additional condition of a stay away from the incident location, which is 50 Mount Zion Road.
Mr. Cook?
We have no problem with that, Your Honor. The stay away is not a problem, and The signature only bond would be what we would be looking for anyway.
Did she need a one-time escort to retrieve any belongings?
We could state that. I don't know that she's got anything there. She lives at 2041 Scotland Way in Stone Mountain. But if she has something there, I'd like her to have that option.
Okay, so it will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 day anger awareness, no further contact with DeMarco Lukerson, stay away from the 50 Mount Zion Road address. She can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that she might have there. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Chapel.
Position 14, Lumpkin.
Good afternoon, Ms. Lumpkin. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 007836B with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
She does not have any prior arrests on file, Your Honor. She does appear to meet the criteria for UJR through the jail, with a 91% chance of appearing for court and an 87% chance of remaining arrest-free. Nothing in addition.
Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 121 Sycamore Road, where they spoke to the victim, Donnell Demons. It's my understanding that is the defendant's stepfather. They were having some type of family disagreement at the time the defendant became physical, punching the victim in his face. The officer did observe a cut or a laceration on the victim's face. The state is asking for a signature bond through pretrial services. No violent contact with the victim, Donnell Demons. A 2-day anger awareness course through pretrial services, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And of course, we sign for the victim, Mr. Demons, if he is on the line.
If Mr. Demons is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. It appears that you're there, sir. If you would like to address the court, I'll need for you to raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
Well, this whole situation was a really disagreement. I know it was done out of anger, and when people get angry, they just do things that they regret afterwards, just by not thinking straight. And I wish the police would never call, and I really did not want to press charges. I just wanted them to leave, and it just went haywire. I just did not want this to happen, and I really don't want to go forward with this case.
Okay, let me, as far as contact goes, this is right now it's just a bond hearing, sir. So would you like to have contact with Ms. Lumpkin?
Yeah, she's fine to come over because she's my wife's daughter, and she has the grandkids to see the grandkids. I have no problem. I just don't want the disrespect in the house.
Okay, you don't fear her?
No, not at all.
All right, thank you, sir. We appreciate you being here this afternoon.
Okay.
Mr. Cook?
Yes, my client would deny much of the many of the allegations or the way they were presented. However, we would be fine with contact to visit the grandkids and a signature only bond through the jail. She has no record of any kind.
Okay, it'll be a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. No further violent contact with Mr. Demons, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Lumpkin.
Thank
You
you.
also, Mr. Demons. You're welcome.
Position 5, citizen.
Good afternoon, Ms. Citizen. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 007844C with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
She has a total of 8 cycles. The last arrest was July the 2nd, 2019, out of Marietta, Georgia, for a probation violation. She does have misdemeanor first offender sentences. There were 2. It was in 2019 out of Marietta, Georgia. One was for theft by shoplifting. The case was sealed October the 31st, 2019. And the other case was a first offender as well, 2019 out of Marietta, Georgia, for theft by shoplifting. That case was sealed September the 5th, 2019. She does appear to meet the criteria for UJR in level 1 with an 84% chance of appearing for court and an 80% chance of remaining arrest-free. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Pierre Thomas.
Your Honor, brief facts of the case is that the victim advised that she and her roommate since August 2021 were in a dispute over old food and dirty dishes that were left in the refrigerator and the sink. The victim advised that a verbal altercation became physical, and Mr. Isaiah, Isaiah Pierce, Pearce, slammed her head against the wall, causing visible injuries and to the victim's forehead. And Destiny Citizen, the defendant in this case, kicked the victim, leaving no visible injuries from the assault. Our office has been able to get in contact with the victim, and she advised that the defendant and her were roommates at the incident location, that incident location being 10 Piedmont Avenue, Northeast Atlanta, Georgia, here in Fulton County, Georgia. The victim stated that they no longer live at the residence together. The victim confirmed the events in the warrant. The victim stated that this is the first time that this has happened. The victim stated that she has not seen or spoken to the defendant since the incident, and she states that she would like to continue to have no contact. I don't believe she is on the call. However, her name is Maya, M-Y-A, Sparks, S-P-A-R-K-S, and if we could sound for her at the conclusion of the state's request, that'd be greatly appreciated in accordance with Marcy's law. But the recommendation is a signature bond through the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim, a stay away from that incident location, and the completion of 1 anger management course. Nothing further to add, Your Honor.
Who is Pierce? And
Pierce is not a named party. I looked. I don't think he was on the pool sheet today, but he's not a named party. He should be a co-defendant. I don't know why he's not a co-defendant.
Okay, and who lives at 10 Piedmont Avenue?
They were roommates. The Miss Sparks and Miss Citizen were roommates together. I believe Miss Sparks still lives there, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so you're asking for a stay away from the Piedmont Avenue address?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor, we have no objection to a signature bond and to the stay away provisions.
Okay, so it'll be a
That happened more than a year ago, almost 2 years ago.
Okay. I'm sorry, anything further, Ms. McLeod?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
It will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Sparks, stay away from the 10 Piedmont Avenue address, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Let's see, is Miss Maya Sparks? I want to give her the opportunity to speak if she's here. Doesn't appear so. Good luck to you, Miss Citizen.
Thank you. Excuse me, Your Honor, is it 10 or is it 120 Piedmont?
I have 10, but Mr. Pierre Thomas?
I will double check. I had 120, but I will double check.
Yeah, that's what I have, 120.
All right, so 120.
Okay.
Not to say that that's incorrect, that's just what I have.
Oh, I'll double check. One moment.
Okay.
1 second. Pulling it up now from the warrant. Alrighty. According to the warrant, it is 120.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bridgewater.
You're
Good
welcome.
luck to you, Ms. Citizen.
Thank you. Position 2, Becker. Oh, Judge, if we can do the Spanish interpreter cases in courtroom 3, have them go in their breakout. And that's
Okay.
Hoda's cases.
Okay, so let's see. Good afternoon, Mr. Tai.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Let's see, is Matt, yes, good afternoon again, Ms. Chansey. All right, so if we can place Ms. Chansey, Mr. Tai, and courtroom 3 into a breakout room, please. Okay, and while we get that done, this is Ms. Becker, position number 2, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Becker. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Good afternoon. Yes, I do.
Thank you, ma'am. You've been charged in case 23 CR 007846B with willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer and hit and run. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
She has 3 cycles. The last arrest was July the 27th, 2022 out of Coweta County, Georgia, for driving while license suspended or revoked. She did receive a no-low contendory sentence in 2022 out of Coweta County for driving while license suspended or revoked. And she does have a misdemeanor conviction that was in 2020 out of Peachtree City for possession of marijuana less than an ounce. She does appear to meet the criteria for UJR level 1 with an 84% chance of appearing for court and an 80% chance of remaining arrest-free. Nothing in addition, none.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. You're on mute, Mr. Walker.
Sorry. I just wanted to point out, I believe that there's an obstruction and a hit and run, but the defendant was also booked in on a simple battery that had to do a subsequent filing too. So we'll need to address all 3 charges. But in this case, law enforcement received a call from the victim, whose name is Meredith Dion, who advised that the defendant had ran through her front yard, hitting a tree, messing up her yard and crashing into a green electrical box. The defendant was followed by the victim to the defendant's home. That's where the victim called law enforcement. Upon making contact with the defendant for the hit and run, she did resist arrest and did spit on Officer Spencer. That's the basis to the simple battery. The state is asking for a $1,000 surety to the 1 count of hit and run, a $500 surety to the 1 count of obstruction, and a $500 surety to the count of simple battery. No further violent contact with Officer Spencer, no driving without a valid license, and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
Is there no further contact with Ms. Dion also?
We can ask for, yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Cook?
Apologize, Your Honor, I was running some other stuff down here. We don't have any objection to the conditions set forth at this point.
Okay. All right, so for the willful obstruction, a $500 good bond. For the hit and run, a $1,000 good bond. For the simple battery, a $500 good bond. Makes for a total of a $2,000 good bond. No further contact with Meredith Dion or Officer Spencer, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Becker.
Judge, you said the simple battery is gonna be how much?
500, good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And do we have everything that we need for that charge, Ms. Bridgewater?
So,
Okay, was
it's not
that
shown on the calendar. The simple
It's
No, I'm
battery.
not showing it either.
It's not on the
Yeah.
calendar, but the defendant was booked in on that charge, and apparently the initial filing for the simple battery did not go through, so I had to do it a second time. But a bond will need to be set on that charge because she was booked in on all 3 charges.
Okay, well, I'll mark it on the calendar and I'll put the bond amount on there.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you all.
Your Honor, that was 2,000 total, 500 on, how did that break down again? I'm sorry.
You're fine. Willful obstruction, 500, hit and run, 1,000, simple battery, 500.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, who do we have next?
Richardson, position 18.
Okay. Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Richardson. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You have been charged in case 23 CR 007841A with criminal trespass, family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
She does not have any prior arrests on file, Your Honor. She appeared to meet the criteria for UJR through the jail. There's a 91% chance of appearing for court and a 87% chance of remaining arrest free. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Got our brief facts of the case is that on December 7th, officer 2023, the officer responded to a call in reference to a fight at the incident location. That incident location is 1485 Ashley Way, East Point, Georgia, 30344 in Fulton County, Georgia. Upon arrival, they spoke with the defendant, who advised that she and her boyfriend, the victim, had been arguing since returning to the home earlier that date. The defendant stated that once the argument between her and the victim began, they got heated. She decided to leave the residence. The defendant stated that she and the defendant have lived together for approximately 2 years. They were outside. The defendant advised that the victim was able to grab her keys and ran into the residence. The defendant stated that she ran behind the victim and noticed that he had locked the front door of the residence. She herself admitted that she did kick in the front door to retrieve the keys from the defendant. Video footage of the damage was taken on the officer's body cam footage. We were not able to get in contact with the victim, so if we could sound from Mr. Andrew Durr. Andrew, traditional spelling, Durr, D-U-R-R is the last name, in accordance with Marcy's law. But the recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the jail, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with Mr. Durr, stay away from that incident location, and the completion of an anger management course. Nothing further to add at this time from the state, Your Honor.
If Andrew Durr is present and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 26 years old. She is the mother of a 7-year-old that she takes care of, Your Honor. She denies the allegations as stated in the warrant. Since she has no history, we believe that a UJR would be appropriate for her, Your Honor. And also, we would request that it be based on no further violent contact with the alleged victim.
Let's see. Does she live at that Ashley Way address?
No, Your Honor. She gave me a different address.
Okay. And is the child with Mr. Durr?
I do not believe so, Your Honor. I do not believe it's the father's child.
All right. It'll be a $1,000 signature bond through the jail. No further violent contact with Andrew Durr, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good luck to you, Ms. Richardson.
Position 11. Heist.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Heist. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Heist, you've been charged in case 23 CR 007843G with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
Yes, he has 26 cycles. The last arrest was July the 20th, 2023, out of Roswell, Georgia, for obstruction of an officer, a felony. There was no disposition for that arrest. He does appear to meet the criteria for UJR level 2 with a 79% chance of appearing for court and a 71% chance of remaining arrest-free. He does have one felony conviction that was in 2004 for felony obstruction of an officer, and he does have misdemeanor convictions. One in 2017 for DUI, one in 2014 for obstruction and driving while license suspended or revoked, another one in 2014 out of Cherokee County for disorderly conduct, and one in 2007 for obstruction of an officer. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Brief facts of the case is that the victim and the defendant are brothers and they live together. The victim was in the hallway of his home when the defendant approached him and sprayed him with mace. The defendant did admit himself to spraying his brother with mace, which caused his eyes to swell, because he said that the victim was calling him names and blocking his way in the hallway. The defendant himself also admitted to carrying mace on him and with him at all times. That incident location is 1195 Land O'Lakes Drive in Roswell, Georgia. The victim's name in this case is William Heist. I would like to notate and point out that that is the same victim in a 2019 conviction. Looks like 19 CR 00561A here in Fulton County, and then also looks like which is a simple battery. Then also a battery from this year, which is here in Fulton County. I was in the process of pulling up that number. However, our office has been able to get in contact with the victim. The victim stated that the defendant is his brother. They live together at the incident location. He confirmed the events in the warrant. He said that obviously that this is not the first time that this has happened. He pointed us to that 19 CR case. He stated that that he is not in fear of the defendant, but he still wants contact. I do believe that he may be on the call. So if we could sound from Mr. William Heist, same name as the defendant, after the state's request. But given the two recent charges and his criminal history, the state will be requesting a $5,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim, a stay away from that incident location, and the completion of one anger management course.
Hey, is this Mr. William Heist that's on the line with us?
Yes.
Okay, if you would like to address the court, Mr. Heist, I'll need for you to raise your right hand for me.
Yes.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court, sir?
So, as I spoke to the people earlier today, that I'm not requesting no contact at all, just no violent contact. My brother suffers from mental illness, and I believe incarceration will do him no good whatsoever. And so he obviously struggles with some mental health issues, but incarceration or having him excised from the house would not be the right course of action, in my opinion.
Okay, and you would like him back in the household with you?
Yes.
Okay. Anything further, sir?
No.
Okay. We appreciate you being here this afternoon. Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Mr. Heist is 51 years old, and he has been here in Georgia ever since 1992. That's almost 31 years. They reside together at his parents' house. My client he claims that it was a self-defense, Your Honor. He is self-employed as an independent contractor. However, last 2 months, he has not had any income. So because of his financial indigency, he is qualified for public defender services. He does have a bachelor's degree in the engineering. We would like to request for signature on bond through pretrial level 2, and also no for the violent contact, so he can go back to his house. He does not have any other place to go. Thank you.
Okay, it'll be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2, no further violent contact with William Heist, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you both, Mr. Heist.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes. Position number 22, Ms. White.
Good afternoon, Ms. White. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Yes.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. You've been charged in case 23 CR 007851D with simple battery. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
She has 5 cycles. The last arrest was December the 12th, 2014 in DeKalb County for identity theft fraud. That charge was nullified on October the 16th, 2015. She does have misdemeanor sentences. She received a no low contendere sentence in 2002 out of Muskogee County, Georgia for simple assault, and she received a no low contendere sentence in 2001 out of Columbus, Georgia for deposit account fraud. She appears to meet the criteria for a level 1 with an 84% chance of appearing for court and an 80% chance of remaining arrest-free. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 1059 Oglethorpe Ave, where they spoke to the victim and Mr. Marcus Green. He advised the defendant came to that location to pick up some belongings when an disagreement occurred that turned into an altercation. The defendant threw ammonia on the victim. The state is asking for a $2,500 surety, a stay away from that incident location, no contact with the victim, Mr. Marcus Green, and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
Is this your case, Ms. McLeod?
It is, Your Honor.
You can proceed.
My client is 45 years old, Your Honor. She has no significant history, as Petrala has stated. She denies the allegations that she threw anything on the alleged victim, Your Honor. In fact, she tells me that she was the one who called the police, and she ended up being arrested. She tells me that she lives at the location with the alleged victim's mother, for whom she is the primary caretaker, and that mom wants her to stay there because mom has some health issues, and she takes care of her. My client also tells me that she herself does have some health issues because she tells me she was arrested on Thursday, and she's only now appearing before the court. I believe she said that may have been because she was in hospital, but I just wanted to put that on the record, Your Honor. But we believe that a signature bond would be appropriate for her. But that is the only place that she has to live.
And Your Honor, to clarify, this is the victim's mother's home, and the warrant, it states that she was there to retrieve her items. So it's the state's position that she was no longer living there, and that was the basis of this altercation. So we are asking for a stay away. And we have not made contact with the victim as of right now, Your Honor.
Okay. It will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, 1-day anger awareness. No further contact with Marcus Green at the present time. I'm not going to restrict her from the Oglethorpe Drive address, but necessarily if Marcus Green is at that address, then she will not be able to be there, given that she has no further contact with him, because we haven't, it's my understanding, spoken with him. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Good luck to you, Ms. White.
Thank you. And that was through pretrial, correct, Judge?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Position 8, Harris.
And this is Ariel Harris, is that right? Position 8. Good afternoon. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 007837E with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
She has 5 cycles. The last arrest was July the 27th, 2018 in Fulton County for simple battery. There was no disposition for that arrest. She does have 1 prior misdemeanor conviction since 2016 for criminal trespassing. She does appear to meet the criteria for UJR with a jail, with a 91% chance of appearing for court and an 87% chance of remaining arrest-free. Nothing in addition.
Your Honor, brief facts of the case is that on December 7th, 2023, the officer responded to a call in reference to a fight at the incident location. That incident location is 1597 White Way, East Point, Georgia, 30344 in Fulton County, Georgia. Upon arrival, the officer observed a vehicle with its emergency lights on. The officer observed the defendant reaching into the driver's side door and would appear to be getting into a scuffle with the person in the driver's seat who was seated in the driver's seat. The person in the driver's seat was also screaming for help. After separating the two parties, the officer observed the driver of the vehicle, the victim, bleeding from her mouth, her fingertips, and she had swelling to her right and left eye. The defendant stated that she was the wife of the victim and that they had got into a verbal dispute in reference to the victim's girlfriend. The defendant stated that she headbutted the victim in the forehead, which led to a physical altercation. The officer observed no obvious injuries to the defendant's person. The victim stated that she and the defendant were traveling northbound on Main Street when an argument between the two took place. The victim stated that she pulled over into the East Point MARTA station to let the defendant out of the car, and at which point the defendant began to become irate and started punching her in the face. The victim advised the defendant attempted to take her keys out of her hand, which led to a power struggle between the two. The victim advised that she broke multiple fingernails during the struggle to get her keys out of the defendant's hand. The victim also advised that once the vehicle was parked, the defendant continued to hit her with a closed fist in her face. Our office has been able to get in contact with the victim in this case. She states that they are married, but they're in the process of getting divorced. They do not live together anymore. However, the victim stated that they were standing outside of the car when they got into an argument and the defendant began to attack her. She essentially confirmed the events in the warrants. She said that she punched her in the face, she pulled her hair out, she slung her to the ground. She advised that she sustained a black eye, a blood clot to her eye, a swollen face, and as stated before, her nails were ripped out, and looks like some of them were ripped out, or the pinky finger was ripped out to the cuticle, leaving her nerve exposed. She states that she's been having bad migraines since the incident. And she advised that she wants no contact with the defendant and she wants the defendant to stay away from her residence, which is 400 Fairburn Road, apartment 8A8. I can put that in the chat, Atlanta, Georgia. I do believe that she may be on the call. Her name is Tronika, Tronika Harris, traditional spelling, Harris. The recommendation from the state, Your Honor, is a $3,500 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim, stay away from the victim's residence, which I will put in the chat for the court, and the completion of a family violence intervention program. Nothing further to add from the state, Your Honor. If you could sound for the victim in accordance with Marcy's law.
If Tronika Harris wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. You, of course, do not have to address the court, but if you would like to, I'll need for you to activate your camera, unmute yourself, and I'll have to swear you in. Okay, Mr. Pierce Thomas, I'm sorry, Mr. Pierre Thomas, it looks as, I have a Tronika Murray on the line, so if this is Ms. Tronika Harris, it does not appear that she wishes to address the court. Yes, Mr. Cook.
Yes, Your Honor. My client's 31 years old. She has been working for Federal Express for 6 years. She denies the characterization of the allegations as stated. She has no problem staying away from the incident location. There is a little twist here, and that is that the alleged victim apparently parks her company truck near the property where my client lives. My client lives with her father at 87 Bass Street, Southeast Atlanta. So there may be some problems there as far as maybe there won't be any problems there regarding no contact, but there's a likelihood they would see each other unless the alleged victim finds another place to park her vehicle.
Okay. let's see, Mr. Pierre Thomas, you gave me two addresses. There was one, White Way, and the other one was Fairburn Road. You are requesting a stay away from the Fairburn Road address?
Yes, because that's the residence of the victim. So she
Okay,
wants to stay away from the residence of her residence.
My client can stay away from either one of those. It's the address where my client lives, where the alleged victim parks her company vehicle. And if there's a stay away or no contact, I don't remember. Well, there hasn't been a disposition yet, but that would be difficult if the alleged victim is parking her car at the property where my client currently lives.
okay. Well, I'm not going to get into any of the parking of a vehicle. At this point, there's no contact. So no contact means absolutely no contact. So if you see somebody that you're not supposed to have contact with, you just turn and go the other way. So it will be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Tranika Harris, stay away from the 400 Fairburn Road address, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. All right, good luck to you, Ms. Harris.
Thank you.
Position 21, Smith.
Your Honor, may I be excused? My business before the court is concluded.
Yes, thank you, Ms. McLeod. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And this is position 21, Alexis Smith, is that correct?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ma'am. Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, too.
Thank you, ma'am. You've been charged in case 23 CR 007840Y with theft by taking. Is there a history?
Yes, she has 12 cycles. The last arrest was July the 8th, 2023 in Fulton County for possession of marijuana less than an ounce and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. That case appeared to be still pending, Your Honor. There was no case number provided. She did receive first offender treatment in 2014 for a misdemeanor out of Bibb County, Georgia for theft by shoplifting. The case was sealed September the 5th, 2015, and she appears to meet the criteria for a UJR level 2 with a 79% chance of appearing for court and a 71% chance of remaining arrest-free. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, the victim, whose name is Justin Campos, advised to law enforcement that he met the defendant, if you will, at a gas station. She advised that her and her children were hungry. She caught a ride with the victim to the Red Roof Inn. After letting the defendant out of his car, he noticed that $100 in his Visa debit card was taken out of his wallet. The state is seeking a signature bond through the jail. No contact with the victim, Justin Campos. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while on bond. And of course, we would sound for the victim, Mr. Justin Campos.
Mr. Campos is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. It's not appear so. Ms. Kim, you have any objection to any of what the state has requested?
No, Your Honor. We have no
Okay.
objection.
It'll be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail, no further contact with Mr. Justin Campos, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Smith.
Thank you.
Richardson.
Position 19, Riviere. Hold on.
And Lumpkin. So where's she at?
You want, Smith?
And who do we have here? I'm sorry, courtroom chair.
Position 19, Riviere.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Good afternoon, Judge. Yes, I do.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 007835F with battery. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
He has 2 cycles. The last arrest was December 31st, 2011, out of Paulding County, Georgia, for battery, family violence. That case said it was recorded restricted, so there was no disposition. The date they said was restriction was February the 15th, 2013. He does appear to meet the criteria for UJR through the jail, with a 91% chance of appearing for court and an 87% chance of remaining arrest-free. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
In this case, Your Honor, law enforcement was dispatched to the Rock and Taco. I believe that's some type of bar located at 928 Canton Road. They spoke to the victim, whose name is Thomas Glansky. He advised that there was an altercation where the defendant punched him in the face. The officer did observe a laceration to the victim's face. The state is asking for a signature bond through pretrial services, no contact with the victim, a stay away from the incident location, a 2-day anger awareness course, and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while bond.
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Mr. Rivera, he is 52 years old and he moved to Georgia in 1999, about 24 years, and he is gainfully employed at Lockheed Martin as a senior manager. And Your Honor, he's been working there for 19 years. He does have a master's degree from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. I kind of Googled it to find out what kind of school it is. They say that it is a Harvard of the skies. Very good school for aviation and aerospace. He is a professional airplane personnel. So we would like to request for signature on bond jail as he is recommended. And no further contact is totally fine with my client. Thanks.
Okay, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pre-trial level 1, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Mr. Glansky, stay away from the Rock and Taco on Canton Road, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Rivera.
Thank you.
Position 1, Bailey. Oh, Judge, I guess I just noticed we can do the interpreter cases next, I guess.
Okay, would you like to do them now?
Yeah, that's fine. So we can let her go.
Okay, is courtroom 3 on with me?
They're actually here in my courtroom. They came
Oh,
back.
okay, all right, very good.
Camacho.
Chance, if you raise your right hand.
Position
I
3.
can't hear you. No, we can't hear you, Miss Chansey. We may have to go back to someone until Miss Chansey gets her audio working for us.
Okay, go back and have a seat for me.
My apologies for the interruption. Your Honor, what position is the interpreter case?
Position number 3.
Thank you.
No, we can't hear you now either, Miss Chansey. I'm sorry. Do you think you want to log out and log back in, maybe? You've done that 3 times? Okay.
Meanwhile, Judge, we have position number 1, Mr. Bailey.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Bailey. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Bailey, you've been charged in case 23 CR 007833C with failure to obey traffic signal or light, obstruction of a law enforcement officer, driving under the influence of alcohol less safe, and driving under the influence of alcohol concentration 0.08 grams or more. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
He has 6 cycles. The last arrest was February the 22nd, 2022, out of Cherokee County for a probation violation. He does have, let me go back up to the top. I apologize to the court. does appear to have an open case pending in Fulton County for DUI. That case number is 22 CR 00579 in the letter C. There's an additional open case pending in Forsyth County, Georgia for DUI and possession of controlled substance, Schedule 3, 4, or 5. And he has and possession of controlled substance, Schedule 3, 4, or 5. So it was 2 cases, 22 counts. I apologize to the courts that appear to be still pending, Your Honor. He does have 1 prior felony conviction. It's in 2020 out of Cherokee County for possession of Schedule 1 controlled substance. There's 1 misdemeanor conviction. It's in 2017 out of Forsyth County for simple assault. He does appear to meet the criteria for a UJR level 3 with a 79% chance of appearing for court and a 65% chance of remaining arrest-free. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Walker.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement observed the defendant run a stop sign located on Grimes Bridge Road. Upon making contact with the defendant, the officer observed slurred speech, red eyes, and the odor of alcohol. Field sobriety was done, and at that time, the defendant was arrested on the following charges. To the count of DUI per se, the state is asking for a $2,500 surety. To the additional count of DUI less safe, the state is asking for a $2,500 SOB jail. For the failure to obey, we are asking for a $500 surety. To the count of obstruction, we are asking for a $500 surety. 1 second. And for the remaining counts, we're asking for a SOB through the jail, with the conditions of no driving without a valid license, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
I have 4 counts, Mr. Walker, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. How many recommendations did I give?
You gave more than
count.
4. You gave more
Okay,
than
yeah.
4. So
I'm sorry.
I've got a 500 good for the failure to obey traffic control device, a 500 good for the obstruction, a 2,500 good for the less safe, and a 2,500 SOB through the jail for the 0.08 grams or more.
Yeah, I meant to stop there. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Just want to make sure I had it correct. Yes, Ms. Kim, is this your case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Because the way I understood was, I think he was recommended for $500 signature on bond through jail, if I understood correctly, the willful obstruction and failure to obey. And only one thing was probably good bond, Your Honor, but I just wanted to double check. He is actually hoping to get signature on bond through all of them and be released to Arches where he has a bed available. He's working with the program manager, David East, for him to get into this program, for him to be rehabilitated. I think that will be more productive than staying in the jail. He has been here in Georgia for about 16 years. He has all his family members here in Georgia, and he has a 6th certificate for being a personal trainer. He's been doing that about 7 years. He also has electrician license. He's been doing it for 2 years. Right now, he's also going to Kennesaw University as a sophomore. He graduated from high school, and he's not going to be qualified for public defender services. And we would like him to have a signature on bond through pretrial and go to Archie's program. Thanks.
Okay. For the failure to obey a traffic control device, $500 good bond. The obstruction is a $500 good bond. The DUI less safe is a $2,500 good bond, and the DUI 0.08 grams or more, that's going to be a $2,500 signature bond through the jail. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. All right, good luck to you, Mr. Bailey.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Repeat that again for me, please.
Okay, 500 for the failure to obey traffic signal, good bond.
Okay.
Okay, 500 for the willful obstruction, good bond.
Mm-hmm.
Less safe, $2,500 good bond. That makes for a total of a $3,500 good bond. And for the DUI, 0.08 grams, a $2,500 SOB through the jail.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. And no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good luck to you, Mr. Bailey.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome, sir.
Position 20, Sims. Yes.
Good afternoon, before I get to you, Mr. Sims, Ms. Chancey, you still can't? No? Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Sims. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Sims. I appreciate it. You've been charged in case 23 CR 007852A with battery, family violence, and battery. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
He has 25 cycles. The last arrest was November the 8th, 2015 out of Fulton County for hijacking a motor vehicle, robbery, and aggravated assault, 4 counts, and terrorist threats acts, and possession of a firearm during commission of a felony, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and threatening witnesses in an official proceeding, and cruelty to children in the 3rd degree, 2 counts. There was he does have prior felony convictions. One in 2016 for possession of cocaine, and 4 counts of aggravated assault and terroristic threats act, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. That's one in 2010 out of DeKalb County for aggravated assault and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and possession of a firearm during commission of a felony. It's one in 2007 out of DeKalb County for possession of controlled substance with the intent to distribute. There was one in 2005 out of DeKalb County for possession of marijuana with the intent to distribute, 2 counts. Then he does have 1 misdemeanor sentence. It's one in 2008. He received a no contendere sentence out of DeKalb County for harassing phone calls. And he does appear to meet the criteria for UJR, a level 3 with a 79% chance of appearing for court and a 65% chance of remaining arrest-free. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Your Honor. This was an incident that took place on December 10th, 2023, where officers were dispatched to 3301 North Kemp Creek Parkway in reference to a dispute. Officer Raymond spoke to the victim, Ms. Steepson, who stated that she and her boyfriend, the defendant, got into an argument. She further stated that he started punching her in her face with a closed fist because she told him to leave her house. The victim had to run out of the house to one of the neighbors' homes screaming for help. Officers did observe blood coming from the mouth of the victim. Although she claimed that the parties did not live together and he did not have belongings at the house, the officer was able to locate and make contact with the defendant, who stated that he was staying with the victim and that he had a key to the home and that they moved in together. He admitted to punching his girlfriend in the face because he alleged that she slashed his 4 tires and vandalized the interior seats of his vehicle. The state's recommendation is a $3,500 surety bond, no contact with Ms. Zandra, Zandra Steepson, stay away from 3301 North Kemp Creek Parkway, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. The state is particularly concerned about his extensive felony violent history. In addition to, I don't think this was identified or notated by pretrial, but I did show a 2007, although some time ago, but it was a failure to appear. So there is some concern for that as well. And that is the state's recommendation. And I'm sorry, on the battery domestic violence, and then I'll do a UJR to the jail on the battery.
If Xandra Steepson is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Mr. Cook?
Actually, this is my case,
Oh,
Your
Ms.
Honor.
Kemp, excuse me.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, Ms. Kemp.
Mr. Sims is 42 years old. He was born and raised here in Georgia. He has all his family members here. He's currently residing with his brother right now. He has no objection to stay away and no further contact with the Xandra Steepson. Your Honor, my client was trying to protect himself and 10 years old daughter that was attacked by Miss Xandra Steepson, and he claims for self-defense. Your Honor, he has been gainfully employed at FTS as a flagger. He basically set barriers between construction site versus drivers who has to pass by. Because of that, he has a job, decent job. He really want to keep his job. So we would like to return to job force. He does have a GED. Right now, he is enrolled for Atlanta Technical College from January 2024 to pursue further education. He's the one who called for police, Your Honor, because of the attack from Miss Steepson, who basically ruined his tires, so he cannot even drive. We would like to request for signature on bond through pretrial level 3 and no further contact with Xandra. Thank you.
Okay, for the battery family violence, it will be a $2,000 good bond. For the battery, $1,000 good bond. Makes for a total of a $3,000 good bond. No further contact with Xandra Steepson. Stay away from the North Camp Creek Parkway address, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Sims.
Yeah. Position 16, Perry.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Good afternoon, yes, sir.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Perry. Excuse me, you've been charged in case 23 CR 007838Y with theft by deception. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
Your Honor, he does not have any prior arrests on file. He appears to meet the criteria for UJR through the jail, with a 91% chance of appearing for court and an 87% chance of remaining arrest-free. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, Sean. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to the Nordstrom Rat located at 3495 Buckhead Loop, where they met with a loss prevention officer who advised that the defendant is a cashier at the location. Nordstrom Rack was running a special that they gave employees $15 for every credit card application that the employee turned in. This particular defendant filled out multiple false credit card applications in an effort to receive that $15 reward from his employer. He actually received a total of $435. The state is asking for a signature bond through pretrial services, a stay away from the Nordstrom Rack located at 3495 Buckhead Loop. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
Case, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Mr. Perry, is 23 years old. Of course, he lost his job because of this incident, and but he does have an interview next Monday, and he really want to go back to work. He graduated from high school, and currently he is registered to go to Albany College, Technology, and he's been here for whole his life. He has a sister, he has his families who can support him. We would like to request for signature on bond through jail.
It'll be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the Nordstrom Rack, Buckhead Loop, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Perry.
I'm sorry, can you please repeat the bond? I stepped away, Judge.
Okay, $1,000 signature bond through the jail.
Signature bond through the jail. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Position 12, Ingram.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ingram. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 007848F with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
He has 38 cycles. The last arrest is May the 25th, 2019, with the City of Atlanta Police Department for disorderly conduct and obstruction of an officer. He does have prior felony convictions. This one in 2007, like it was a federal conviction for damaged property with the U.S. Postal Service. And there was one in 1999 out of Douglas County, where 2 counts of possession of tools for commission of a crime. There's another one in 1999 out of Douglas County, for 2 counts of theft by taking and 2 counts of criminal damage to property in the 2nd degree and possession of controlled substance and theft by receiving stolen property and entering an automobile and felony obstruction of an officer. This one in 1996 for theft by taking, one in 1993 for theft by receiving stolen property. He does have misdemeanor sentences and convictions. This one in 2020, he received a no-low contendory sentence for disorderly conduct and obstruction of an officer. And one in 2016 out of DeKalb County for a DUI. One in 2004 for disorderly conduct. Does appear to meet the criteria for a UJR level 2 with an 84% chance of appearing for court and a 71% chance of remaining arrest-free. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Your Honor, brief facts of the case is that on July 24, 2023, the officer responded to the incident location, that incident location being 3671 Barrow, B-A-R-R-O-W Place, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, in Fulton County, Georgia, in reference to an assault. The officer spoke with the victim in this case, the victim being Alfred Corn, A-L-F-R-E-D-C-O-R-N, who stated that he was assaulted by his brother, the defendant, after a verbal dispute. The victim stated that the defendant was irate about him telling him to keep the noise down so that he could go to sleep. The victim stated that while he was laying in the bed, his brother kicked the bedroom door and assaulted him with a metal object, causing bleeding to the left side of his head. During the investigation, the defendant refused to talk to the police, locked himself in the bedroom, and after multiple attempts, the defendant still refused to come out. Our office has been able to get in contact with with the victim, who stated that he and the defendant are in fact brothers. They live together at the incident location. He confirmed the events in the warrant. He stated that this is not the first time that the defendant has been violent towards him. He also stated that he does not wish to have any contact with the defendant, and he wishes for the defendant to stay away from the location. I do believe that he states that he may be unavailable to attend today, but if we could still sound for Mr. Corn in accordance with Marcy's law at the conclusion of the state's request, that'd be greatly appreciated. But given the nature of the charge and the allegation and the likelihood to reoffend and the danger to the victim in this case, the state will be requesting a $5,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim in this case, stay away from that incident location, that Burroughs Place Southwest location, and one anger awareness course. Nothing further to add from the state at this time, Your Honor.
Ms. Akai?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 53 years old. He does live with his at the 3671 Barrow Place with his mother, brother, and a cousin. And this incident happened in July, and there's been, they've been living together without incident since then. So we do object to a stay away and are asking for a signature bond through pretrial services, level 2, as that was the recommendation. He doesn't have much violent history, no recent history. So I am asking for the signature bond through pretrial level 2, no further violent contact, and the ability for him to return to his home where he has been living for 15 years.
And I would just point out that we spoke to the victims today.
Oh, okay, so you spoke with Mr. Corn today.
And that those were his requests.
Okay.
No contact and a stay away.
All right. It will be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Alfred Korn, stay away from the Barrow Place address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Ingram.
Your Honor, I do not mean to interrupt, but does he have an address? Because at the time of booking, he was booked in as residentially challenged.
And when I interviewed him, he did state that that's incorrect.
Okay.
He doesn't know why that's there.
So can you get an address for him, Ms. Atai, so that the pretrial at least has an address for him? That is not the Barrow Place address.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Jackson. All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Ingram.
Yep.
Position 9, Harris.
Good afternoon, Mr. Harris. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Harris, you've been charged in case 23 CR 007839F with a window tint violation, obstruction of law enforcement officers, and fleeing or attempting to elude a police officer. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
Yes, he does have 13 cycles. The last arrest was October the 23rd, 2019 in Fulton County for possession of a firearm during commission of a felony and possession and use of drug-related objects and possession of marijuana with the intent to distribute. He does appear to be on probation in Fulton County for possession of marijuana with the intent to distribute. That case number is 19 SC 172418. That term is for 3 years and 4 months. There are some other charges also attached to the same case for possession of firearm during commission of a felony. That term is for 5 years of probation. And there's another one for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. And that probation term is for 3 years and 4 months. Did I give that disposition date? It was August the 4th, 2021, young. He does have prior felony sentences. They were first offender treatment in 2011. There's 2 cases. One is for 2 counts of Schedule 1 controlled substance and burglary. That case was sealed February 25th, 2021. And there's another case, it was in 2011, for possession of cocaine with the intent to distribute. That case was sealed December the 7th, 2017. And he does have 1 misdemeanor conviction. It's in 2017 for obstruction of an officer. He does appear to meet the criteria for UJR in level 3 with a 79% chance of appearing for court and a 65% chance of remaining arrest-free. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Got a brief facts and sense of the case is that on August 2nd, 2023, the officer conducted a traffic stop on a gray Dodge Avenger on University Avenue Southwest and McDaniel Street Southwest. While on patrol of the other area, the officer noticed a vehicle with the front window shield tinted. The officer initiated a traffic stop on the vehicle with his blue lights with their blue lights and their sirens. The officer then approached the vehicle in a safe manner and then received a strong odor of marijuana coming from the vehicle. The officer asked the driver for his license, where and was there anything in the vehicle that the officer needed to know about? The defendant replied that there was a small, I believe there was a smell coming from the ashtray. The officer noticed a blunt, which is a marijuana wrap, coming from the cup holder, and told the defendant to step out of the vehicle. The defendant then at that point rolled his window up and put the vehicle in gear and sped off from the location. At the time, the officer still had the defendant's driver's license in his hand. And so after running it through the system, the officer was able to confirm that that was in fact the person that was driving the vehicle. Your Honor, the state's concern here is that embedded in the charge of fleeing and attempting to elude is that he is an inherent flight risk. And then we've also heard what probably amounts to several probation violations. Given that the state's recommendation is a split bond, a signature bond through the pretrial services on count 1 and count 2, which is that window tint charge and that willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. But as it relates to the fleeing and attempting to elude charge, the state will be requesting a $2,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no driving while out on bond. Nothing further to add from the state, Your Honor.
Mr. Cook? You're on mute, Mr. Cook.
All right. We are fine with the signature bond through pretrial. We would like to get a signature bond through pretrial on the fleeing and eluding.
All right, so for the window tint, $500 signature bond through pretrial, obstruction, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial, fleeing, $2,000 signature bond through pretrial, makes for a total of a $3,500 signature bond through pretrial level 3. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Harris.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Well, how's you out there? You stuck around.
Position 6, Davidson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Davidson. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Good afternoon, Judge. Yes, I do.
Thank you, sir. You've been charged in case 23 CR 007842C with simple battery, family violence, and criminal trespass and damage to property. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
He has 13 cycles. The last arrest was July the 15th, 2022 in Fayetteville, Georgia, before during the 4th degree a misdemeanor. There was no disposition for that arrest. He does have one prior felony conviction. That was in 1996 out of DeKalb County for robbery. And he does have misdemeanor sentences. He received a no low contendory sentence in 2019 for driving while license suspended or revoked. And he does appear to meet the criteria for UJR a level 2 with an 84% chance of appearing for court and a 65% chance of remaining arrest-free. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Your Honor, brief facts of the case is that on September 16, 2023, the officer was dispatched to 1167 Oakland Lane Southwest, looks like Unit A, Atlanta, Georgia, 30310. To a fight in progress call. The officer spoke with the reporting party, who was the victim, Chandrika Robertson, SHANDREKAROBERTSON, who stated that she was at the home when the father of her children, the defendant, entered the home with the apartment key they had taken months ago. The victim stated that the defendant entered her home and he appeared irate for whatever reason. The victim stated that the defendant was trying to make an issue with anyone in the house. However, no one would entertain him. And so she advised him to leave. It was at that point that he charged at her, pulled her hair, threw a bag, and began making threats saying that he was going to kill her. The victim stated that the defendant does not live at the location. However, she was trying to help him out and give him a place to live as he had nowhere to go. The victim also advised that a short time after the defendant returned to the location, began to bang on her front door and continue with the threats. She advised that he went around to the back window, shattered it, and then returned to the front door and with a shelf and began banging on the door. The defendant caused major damage to the door. Our office has been able to get in contact with the victim in this case. She states that they are not in a relationship. They do not live together, despite the fact that they share 3 children together. She confirmed the events in the warrant, and she says she still has not gotten the window fixed. She stated that this is the first time the defendant has been violent towards her. I do believe that she may be on the call, so if we could sound for her in accordance with Marcy's law. But the recommendation from the state, Your Honor, because we don't want, we just think that there's a sufficient danger to the witness or to the victim in this case, and but for cooperation, it would have been felony terroristic threats. The recommendation is $5,000 surety, $5,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim in this case, a stay away from that location, and the completion of a family violence intervention program. And if at this time we can sound for Ms. Roberson in accordance with Marcy's law, that'd be greatly appreciated.
If Sean or Sandrika Roberson is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so.
Hi, how you doing?
Yes, ma'am, I'm doing well. Can you raise your right hand for me?
I can.
Okay, and you're gonna have to take the gum out for me also, okay?
I'm sorry. Yes.
All right. Do you swear from the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can place your hand down. Yes, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
Okay, well, the day of the incident, Mr. Davidson, we both share kids. I think he was probably had a little drink or two that day. I told him that if he was gonna be talking crazy or anything to that matter, he was not allowed to come into my home. He did get a little crazy after that. Since that accident, a couple of days ago, he's been understanding that you cannot come acting crazy at my home due to me having the chance to be able to call help and the police. And I had to go through that far for me had to call the enforcement to get help at that time because this is not his normal attitude or a normal activity. So once they got out of hand, I try to get it back in hand. So that's when I called the enforcement. But since that incident, he's been understanding that you cannot come to my home unless you call me to see your kids. Um, he's still allowed to see his kids. I just want him to pay for the damage of the door, so that way I won't be responsible for it. And the one door. And as long as he do that and come with a positive attitude and be able to call me before he enter or come to my home, then we will have no problem with him and his kids.
So you want to have no further violent contact with them? Is that what you're asking the court for?
Correct. I don't want no more violence. I told him if he ever have to take a drink or anything or not that occasion, he needs to not come or enter my home. If he do, I will be calling you guys back out. Other than that, if he can cooperate, then we fine. Because like I said, this is something new that we have experienced. We was together for 11 years, and I hate it had to go to this point, but yeah.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate you being here this afternoon.
All right, you too, and you have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Cook.
Yes, Your Honor, we would be looking for a signature bond through a pretrial. His main concern at this point is having the ability to see his kids. Now, we heard the alleged victim say she didn't have a problem with contact, so I'll leave that up to the court. But they do have 3 minor children together, and he would like to be in a position to see them.
Okay, for the simple battery family violence, there'd be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial. For the criminal trespass, a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2, 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Ms. Roberson, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. All right, Mr. Davidson, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
Your Honor, can you hear me? Williams?
Say it again, Ms. Chancey. I think I can.
Can you hear me now? I'm using my phone as a microphone.
Oh, okay, very good. We can hear you. So whenever courtroom two, whenever y'all are ready for Madam Interpreter case.
Okay, we can just finish him. And then
Okay, all right, and tell me who we have here again.
This is gonna be position 23, Williams.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Williams. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Williams, you've been charged in case 23 CR 007853A with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
He has 39 cycles. The last arrest was October the 1st, 2019 in Florida for pass, force, / uttering forced instruments / check and grand theft in the 3rd degree. He does have prior felony convictions out of Florida, one in 2019 for grand theft, one in 2014 for possession of cocaine, one in 2010 for robbery and possession of a firearm during commission of a felony, and possession of cocaine, one in 2008 for possession of cocaine. He does appear to meet the criteria for a UJR, a level 2, with an 84% chance of appearing for court and a 65% chance of remaining arrest-free. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Now, Your Honor, this is an incident that took place on December 10th, 2023, where officers were dispatched to 886 Custer Street, Apartment A, in reference to property damage. Upon arrival, officers spoke to Jakiria Linsu, who stated that Demetrius Williams, a friend of another resident, threw a cinder block through the front window of the home. Officers did observe the front window of the home being broken out, broken glass, and the cinder block on the floor of the bedroom. Shortly after, officers located the defendant walking near the 700 block of South Central Avenue, and he admitted to throwing the brick through the window. The state's recommendation is just to allow the bond to remain as $1,000 surety bond that was put on the case by the original judge, but ask that no contact with Jakiria Linsu, stay away from 886 Custer Street, Hateville, Georgia. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
Mr. Ty?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 53 years old. He denies the allegations as stated in the warrant. He states that the property owner, his girlfriend, put his clothes out. They were getting wet in the rain. There was a disagreement, but he denies the allegations in the warrant. He is recommended for a signature bond through pretrial services level 2. So that's what we're asking for today. He doesn't have a lot of violent history, certainly none recently. So we are asking for that. He's fine with the stay away from 886 Custer Street and no further contact.
Okay, it will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Stay away from the Custer Street address, no further contact with Ms. Linsu, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Williams.
Judge, I do have one more before we start the interpreter case. Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine.
Position 10, Hatcher.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Hatcher. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
No, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Hatcher, you've been charged in case 23 CR 007855E with hit and run, driving under the influence of alcohol per se, and driving under the influence of alcohol. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
He has 16 cycles. The last arrest was July the 21st, 2019 in Fulton County for battery, substantial physical harm. He does appear to have an open case pending in Fulton County. the battery. That case number is 22 CR 0030229 and the letter E. He does have prior felony convictions. One in 2012 out of Clayton County for fleeing or attempting to elude an officer. One in 2011 out of Clayton County for false imprisonment. One in 2007 out of Clayton County for theft by receiving stolen property. He does have misdemeanor sentences and convictions. One in 2016 for simple battery family violence. One in 2014 out of Clayton County for fleeing or attempting to elude an officer and driving while license suspended or revoked. And he received a no contendere sentence in 2010 out of Clayton County for criminal trespassing. And he does appear to meet the criteria for UJR level 3, with a 79% chance of appearing for court and a 55% chance of remaining arrest-free. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Your Honor, according to the warrants, on November 27, 2022 at Flat Shoals Road, this defendant did operate a Kia Optima which was involved in an accident and failed to immediately stop or remain at the scene. And this is while he was under the influence of alcohol with a concentration of 0.08 grams or more. In addition to what was named, I didn't hear the pending charges, which I believe is how this warrant, he was arrested on this warrant, which is a 2023 cruelty in the first degree times 4 counts, use of firearm by a convicted felon, fleeing or attempting to elude misdemeanor, driving while license suspended, and he is on a no bond status on that charge. Additionally, on the 2019 case that was mentioned by pretrial, it appears that there was a bond forfeiture on that case on 5/2023, according to the Odyssey. According to his traffic convictions, I didn't hear any of those, or some of them identified as a 2014 fleeing or attempting to elude, 2014 driving on suspended license, 2012 failure to obey stop sign, 2012 fleeing or attempting to elude, passing bus, reckless driving, and driving while license suspended, failure to report striking an object, 2009 driving without a license, 2006 fleeing police, and 2006 reckless driving. As such, the state's recommendation is a total $3,500 surety bond, $1,000 for the hit and run. I do think that the pretrial did mention that he had a prior conviction for hit and run, a $2,500 surety bond on the DUI less safe, and then a UJR to the jail on the DUI per se, for a total of a $3,500 surety bond, or split bond, I guess. No alcohol or drugs.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Hatcher is 34 years old, and he was born and raised here in Georgia, Your Honor. He did not have any bond for his felony charges, so he's not going anywhere, Your Honor. He is gainfully employed as Boss Moving Services, actually his own company that he's been working for. He does moving company for commercial buildings. He's been doing that for about 8 years. He has 8th grade education. Your Honor, we would like to request for signature on bond through pretrial level 3. And also I want to double check. There was willful obstruction of law enforcement officer charge. I want to make sure it has a NOD, so that way he's not gonna be in the jail for that.
The state did request an NOD on the willful obstruction charge.
Okay, no problem.
All right, so for the hit and run, it's a $500 good bond, DUI per se, $1,500 good bond. The other DUI, a $1,500 good bond, makes for a total good bond of $3,500. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Hatcher.
Okay, we're ready for the Spanish interpreter cases. Position 3. No.
Right. You can raise your right hand for me, Ms. Chansey. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you will translate from Spanish to English and English to Spanish to the best of your ability?
Yes, sir, I do.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Camacho Chavez. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. You agree to have your case heard by video?
Buenas tardes, señor Camacho Chávez. Estamos llevando esta audiencia teleaudiencia. ¿Está de acuerdo con continuar su caso de esta manera?
Okay, está bien.
That's fine. Okay.
You've been charged with battery.
Usted tiene un cargo de golpes y lesiones.
Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
¿Hay antecedentes, señora Jackson?
He does not have any prior arrests on file, Your Honor. It does appear to meet the criteria for UJR to the jail. Nothing in addition.
Él
Yes,
no tiene arrestos anteriores, parece que cumple los requisitos para recibir una fianza pagada a través de la cárcel.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 849 Roswell.
En este caso, la policía fue llevada a la dirección 849 Roswell,
Where they met with a victim whose name is Luis Hernandez Aborca, Aborca.
y se encontraron con la víctima Luis Hernández Aparca.
In speaking with the victim, she advised that her and the defendant were engaged in a verbal disagreement, at which point he took her car.
At that point, what happened with the car? I'm sorry, sir.
He took her car. The defendant took the victim's car.
Thank you. Esta persona comentó a la policía que él y el acusado habían tenido una discusión verbal y en ese momento el acusado se llevó su auto.
Later, the defendant returned and the dispute continued. Eventually, it escalated, turning physical, at which point he grabbed her by the throat and threw her down to the ground.
Después, la discusión se fue agravando y se convirtió en física, en donde el acusado lo agarró por el cuello y lo tiró al suelo.
The state is asking for a $2,500 surety bond, no contact with the victim, stay away from the incident location, and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
La fiscalía pide una fianza de $2,500 bajo garantía, no tener más contacto con la víctima, mantenerse alejado del lugar de la residencia y queda prohibido el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas.
Nothing further from the state.
Ms. Chancey, would you sound for Luis Aborca?
Luis Abarca está presente en la plataforma de Zoom. Señor Luis Abarca.
Okay, thank you. Doesn't appear so. Mr. Ty?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 23 years old. He has absolutely no criminal history, no previous arrests. The warrant does state that he was bit and scratched on his chest. He does deny the allegations, and I am asking for a signature bond through the jail. He's fine with a stay away from Luis Abarca. Of course, Luis Abarca does not live at the incident location, which is my client's.
One moment, Mr. Ty.
Okay.
Let's.
Mi cliente tiene 23 años y no tiene antecedentes penales ni arrestos anteriores. Lo que sí dice la orden de arresto, que a él se lo mordió y también se lo rasguñó en el pecho. Él niega todos los alegatos y estoy pidiendo una fianza bajo firma a través de la cárcel y él no tiene problemas de mantenerse alejado del señor Luis Abarca. He can stay away.
Yes, so he's fine with no further contact with Luis Abarca, but he needs to be able to return to his home, which is the incident location. Luis does not live there.
Él sí necesita regresar al lugar del incidente, que es el lugar donde él vive, y Luis no vive allí.
Okay. See, it will be a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Luis Aborca, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Le otorga una fianza de $3,000 bajo firma a través de la cárcel. No debe tener ningún tipo de contacto con Luis Abarca más y queda prohibido el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas mientras esté libre bajo fianza.
Good luck to you, sir.
Buena suerte, señor.
Judge, on the, for the other charge on his 3-card attempt for conspiracy to violate Georgia, is that?
That was NOD this morning and sent over.
Thank you. All right, next, go back. Next, we have position 17, Raise.
Good afternoon, Mr. Reyes. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Buenas tardes, señor Reyes. Yo soy el juez Morrow y estoy conduciendo la teleaudiencia de estos causas estatales de trámite rápido. ¿Está de acuerdo con que continuemos su caso de esta manera?
Sí.
Yes.
You have been charged with simple assault, family violence, simple battery, obstruction of a law enforcement officer, and battery.
Señor, usted tiene un cargo por agresión simple, por golpes y lesiones simples, por golpes y lesiones simples y por obstruir a la autoridad.
Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
¿Hay antecedentes?
He has 2 cycles. The last arrest was July the 12th, 2022 in Roswell, Georgia, for driving without a valid license. There was no well, go ahead.
There was no what, madam?
I just stopped so that you could go ahead and give him that information. I'll give you the disposition in just a moment.
Okay. Ha tenido 2 ciclos. El último fue el 12 de julio del 2022 en Roswell, Georgia, por manejar sin licencia.
Okay. He does have 1 misdemeanor conviction that was in 2022 out of Roswell, Georgia, for driving without a valid license. And he does appear to meet the criteria for a UJR, a level 1, with an 84% chance of appearing for court and an 80% chance of remaining arrest-free. Nothing in addition.
Él tiene otro delito menor en 2022 en Roswell, Georgia, por manejar sin licencia y también está a un nivel JR del nivel 1 y cumpliendo los requisitos.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 845 Roswell Creek.
En este caso, la policía se le envió al 845 de Roswell Creek,
where they met with the 3 victims, Miss Alma Garcia, Alcira Orsorto, and then Ulysses, I will spell that last name, Maradiaga, who advised that their grandmother's boyfriend came home to their residence in an intoxicated state.
En este caso hubo 3 víctimas, Alcira Ataya, Ulises Maltrada y Alma García. Can you please repeat after what the names are for the
The
interpreter?
victims advised that the defendant is their grandmother's boyfriend, and he came home that day in an intoxicated state.
Las víctimas dijeron que se trata de la madre de, perdón, el novio de la abuela, y en este día el acusado llegó ebrio.
He struck one of the victims, elbowed the other, and kicked a third victim, and proceeded to throw beer bottles at all 3 victims. The victims did seek refuge by locking themselves in the restroom or the bathroom.
Ellos también declararon que golpeó a una de las víctimas, a 2 de las víctimas, pateó a la tercera y comenzó a tirar botellas de cerveza alrededor en el lugar, y para buscar refugio, las víctimas se escondieron en el baño.
Upon arrival, law enforcement officer did observe the defendant to be drunk and open beer bottles at the scene.
Al llegar la policía, observaron que el acusado se veía ebrio y había botellas de cerveza desparramadas en el lugar.
One of the 3 victims, Ms. Garcia, did have a visible injury observed by law enforcement.
La víctima García se mostraba lesiones visibles.
The state is asking for a $1,500 surety to the battery, a $500.
La fiscalía está pidiendo $1,500 con una fianza de garantía por el cargo de golpes y lesiones,
A $500 surety to the obstruction,
y $500 por el cargo de obstrucción,
$1,000 surety to the simple battery,
y $1,000 por una fianza bajo garantía por los golpes y lesiones simples,
and $1,000 surety to the 1 count simple of assault.
Y $1,000 de fianza bajo garantía por la obstrucción a la autoridad.
We're asking for a no contact with all 3 victims and a stay away from the incident location.
Pedimos que no tenga ningún tipo de contacto con ninguna de las 3 víctimas, y también que se mantenga alejado de la dirección donde ocurrió el incidente, perdón.
We are also asking for an alcohol and drug evaluation with any necessary treatment.
También que se someta a una evaluación de drogas y alcohol y tratamiento si es necesario.
And lastly, we're asking for no weapons and drugs or alcohol while out on bond.
Y queda prohibido el uso de alcohol, drogas y armas mientras esté libre bajo fianza.
If we could sound for the victims, Ms. Garcia, Ms. Osorto, and Mr. Mardiaga.
Están García, señor García, Orsoto y Maradiaga. Están presentes en la plataforma. Creo que los nombres son Alcira, Ulises, Alma. ¿Están presentes?
And I believe Ms. Garcia is on under Alma Alvarado.
Alma Alvarado, por favor prenda su cámara. ¿Es usted Alma García?
Sí.
If she would like to address the court, now would be her opportunity to do so.
Señora Alma, si usted quiere dirigirse al juez, esta es la oportunidad que tiene.
No, no está bien.
No, that's fine.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Ty.
Yes. Well, my client is okay with a stay away, but if there is one of the victims on the line, I would like to know if they would be okay with further contact with him. But I'll go ahead. My client is 45 years old. He has no violent history. The only arrests that he has, the only history that he has is driving without a valid license.
Tiene 45 años de edad, no tiene antecedentes penales ni relacionados con la violencia, solamente uno por manejar sin licencia. Thank you, Madam Attorney.
So as I said, he's fine with the stay away and the no further contact. We would object to an alcohol and drug evaluation. I mean, these are allegations. He has no history other than those traffic or a traffic offense. So I am asking for a signature bond through the jail. And
en nosotros está bien, él no tiene problema de mantenerse alejado de las víctimas ni tener ningún contacto y también alejado de el domicilio. Sí, estamos objetando que a someterse a una evaluación de drogas y alcohol porque han sido solo alegatos. Y sí quisiera pedir una fianza para él bajo firma a través de la cárcel.
so that's all, Your Honor.
Eso es todo.
For the simple assault, $1,000 signature bond through the jail. For the simple battery, $1,000 signature bond through the jail. For the obstruction, $500 signature bond through the jail. For the battery, $1,000 signature bond through the jail. No further Yes. Makes for a total of a $3,500 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with the alleged victims. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Por el cargo de agresión simple se da una fianza de $1,000 bajo firma a través de la cárcel. Por golpes y lesiones simples, $1,000 bajo firma a través de la cárcel. Por obstrucción a la autoridad, $500, una fianza bajo firma a través de la cárcel. Y por golpes y lesiones, una fianza de $1,000 bajo firma a través de la cárcel. Un total de $3,000 de fianza bajo firma a través de la cárcel. Debe no tener más contacto alguno con las 3 víctimas y también queda prohibido el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas mientras esté bajo fianza.
Also, stay away from the 845 Roswell Creek address.
También debe mantenerse alejado de la dirección del 845 Roswell Creek Lane, el domicilio.
Good luck to you, sir.
Buena suerte, señor.
Judge, we're completed here in courtroom 2.
All right, very good. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.
You'll be here tomorrow morning with us, Judge?
I will not. I'll see you again on Friday, I believe.
On Friday. Okay, well, you'll be missed.
Okay, thank you.
You said Friday you're coming back, so not even.
Right. Friday. I'll be there. Just the way the calendar worked out.
Oh boy.
I'll see you all then.
We don't miss you, Judge. We don't miss you.
All right. Thank you. It's very much appreciated. Miss Chansey. All right. We'll see you all next time. Miss Chansey, thank you. We appreciate you as always.
Thank you for your patience, Your Honor. Have a good
Okay.
evening. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Things happen. Yes, Miss Bridgewater.
Yes. Once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is December the 28th. Okay? As opposed to the 26th that I told you earlier. Position number 1 is going to the SAP calendar with a $6,000 total split bond. 2, SAP calendar with a $2,000 total good bond. Position 3, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. Position 4 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 5, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 6, reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 7 is being reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 8, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 8, reset further notice with a total $3,500 SOB through pretrial. 10 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $3,500 good bond. 11, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 12, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 13, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 14, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. 15, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 16, reset further notice with a $1,000 SOB through the jail. 17 is reset further notice with a total $3,500 SOB through the jail. 18, reset further notice with a $1,000 SOB through the jail. 19, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 20 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $3,000 good bond. 21, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through the jail. 22, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 23, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. And 24 is being reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. Are there any questions, comments, otherwise?
I don't have a question about a case that was on this calendar, but I have a case where the DA's office finally got back to me. It was on a previous calendar. It was accepted as a felony. Is it okay if I send the transfer order to you, Your Honor?
Yes, that's fine with me. If you'll get it to Miss Bridge, or you can if you send
I'll
it to Miss
CC
Bridgewater.
everybody.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
I also just noticed that Ingram, I did a subsequent accusation and it's still on for the original accusation. So I think the charge needs to be changed.
I'm showing simple battery family violence. What should it be?
Battery family violence.
Battery family violence. Okay.
Yeah, I sent the email to the two parties and then I filed the subsequent filing.
Okay, I will correct it on my end so that when I send this paperwork over, it will reflect that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay,
Are there
anything
any
further?
others?
I believe PD Hoda will be sending consent order for pad release.
I've received those. I'm on it, Miss Kim.
Awesome.
Are there any others? Okay. Judge, will you do the honor of dismissing us?
Thank you, Miss Bridgewater.
My pleasure.
Y'all have a good evening. I appreciate the hard work. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. You as well.
See you next time.
Yes, bye-bye.